system. Yeah, good. Let's see if this is working. Seems to be. Alright, let's go back to DCS. So yes, in this short live video I want to show you a little bit of some of the things I found regarding the L-39. It's an old module that seems to have been abandoned, but I was getting those artifacts things going through the cockpit, and by going on the forums I found this here, which talks about other people who've had issues with it, and basically the solution seems to be to show controls so that you can see the stick, and to enable solo flight in game. So if we go here, let's see, where is the option for that? Miscellaneous, there you go. I think that's where it is. There is a checkbox. As you can see, it's not easy to find. There it is. It's in gameplay. The hide control stick, you have to uncheck that so that you'll see the stick in the plane. And then I'll just cancel that. Go to my editor. Open my mission. There we go, F-86 L-39 test. So if you go to the plane, here, if you enable solo flight, you can see that the sort of backseater has disappeared. Apparently that solves that artifact things that fly through the cockpit when you have that and the stick enabled. I didn't test without this and with the stick, but anyways, I've enabled both because apparently that's the solution. Still doesn't make it super perfect, but anyways. So yeah, in this mission I'll have this L-39 that I've outfitted with 4 rocket pods, and I have this F-86 there to do more or less the same mission, which has its 6 cannons and the rockets. I still haven't really figured out how to use the internal gun on this one. So it says 100%. I've tried a bunch of switches. I'd have to probably learn it a little bit more because there is a 23mm gun there. But I'll mostly use the rockets for this one. Yesterday I had tried with the gun pods on the wings, which I figured out how to work, but this I haven't figured out yet, so I'll need more training if I want to test that part. But I figured it would be a fun thing to show like those two planes, what they can do. And to test that, what I did is I've set some vehicles here, and if we show the satellite view there, whoops, you'll see that some of those vehicles are in a field, some are on the road next to it, and I've set a few things on fire nearby, so it's going to be easy to spot them. And so it's about 10 miles from the airfield, so I'm going to be heading 300, take care of that. And then since we're taking off in that direction because there's wind, we'll come back like around the long part here and then come back to land. And there's a little bit of a crosswind, so it'll be fun to see how the planes handle in those situations. I figured it would be an interesting way to test their anti-insurgency type of capabilities. So let's go try it. So we'll start with the L-39. I'll try to remember which switches to press, but we have a pretty simple situation here. It says fly roughly heading 300 for 10 miles. You'll find enemy troops and vehicles in a field. Some enemies may fire back, and some are already on fire, so look for smoke. Once objectives are complete, or when you are out of ammo, fly back heading 120 to Senaki. And so that's more or less a repetition here, and so we have that. Let's go try it. So now we're in cockpit. Again, this is the plane here. This is what it looks like. As you can see, I've removed the back seater. And so we'll set a few things in the cockpit. I've been told that all these switches are important. This is like your master arm, so it's very important to turn it on, as I found out earlier. On the stick here, you can see now that I have a stick. There's a master arm thing again, which is that part up top. As you can see, now it's not armed, now it's armed. And you have to flip those 3 switches there, and you can see that all things are green there, so it seems to be working. And I'll start with the outer pylons, so I can click that to activate this. You can see we have our sight there, and I think in one of the videos I had checked, it said to put it at 2. Kind of like it at 1.5. We'll see how that goes once we get to the target. I think, yeah, the oxygen wasn't on earlier, so I put it on, and you can turn it for the helmet, and then you can set the flaps there to, whoops, the middle position is takeoff. And so we've got a few clouds today, but good visibility, and you should not see any of those artifacts in the cockpit anymore. You could even see the shadows on those artifacts. And so, yeah, to taxi with this one, you activate the brake and give it rudder to turn. A little bit like on a MiG-21, MiG-19, or even a Spitfire if you've flown these before. Always a little bit difficult to set it nice and straight, ready to go. But once we got it like running fairly straight at a certain speed, you get rudder authority, and you can keep it straight for takeoff. Yeah, the landing gear handle was sort of in the up position, even though the gears were down, but I guess we managed to take off. I don't know if we got a little bit of a tail scrape on this, but it takes a long time before you get like decent speed. As you can see, we're flying at about 180 knots. And we could see there in the distance to the right, there's that smoke. There's a building on fire and a few vehicles, so we're going to go investigate. So yeah, there are some gun switches here and things that I don't quite understand, so that's why I'm not going to try the guns on it. Get my rudders centered, because otherwise it's very hard to shoot rockets. That's why I enabled my control visualization there at the bottom left. So yeah, this is the field, I think, where the vehicles are. We can have an indication of little dots there, so we're gonna go surprise them. I think they have like a vehicle that can actually shoot back at us, so we'll try to get that one first. If we see green tracers, we'll go for him. And so, yeah, now I think my rockets are armed. flaps are up. Got a decent speed. So I think this is my vehicle that shoots back. Oh, look, a train. Try not to hit the train or the civilians nearby. We want to get those guys here. See, they're shooting, so some vehicles have moved, some vehicles are on fire, but I don't think I got my vehicle that was firing at me. No, he's still alive. Can't pull too hard on the stick because it's gonna buff it and stall. So you're at like 150 knots right now. And there he shoots at me again. I think I missed again. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch to the other rockets. Because the first rocket pod is probably almost empty, if not already empty, and the other one has some. Let's try to line up properly. It's kind of difficult. There's quite a bit of smoke and things to mask my approach. It's kind of hard to see through that. I think we might have hit it this time. Yeah, looks like it's on fire. Looks like he might have gotten a few hits on me, so we'll go empty the rest of our rockets on those vehicles in a nice line in the field. And that's about what we'll be able to do with that. You can actually see here, like, there are rockets in the pod versus here there aren't any. And just for fun, we can jettison the empty ones. You can see now they're gone. And so let's shoot the rest. Scared some away, and we got a few on fire. Yeah, looks like there's 2 of them like fully on fire. Alright. So we're gonna head 120 towards the base. Let's try not to crash into the ground doing it. You can see explosions behind me. One of the ways to spot Zanaki is with that hill there in front. The airfield is just to the right. Whole time I had my lights like fully on. I think there's a switch here to make them look a bit dimmer a bit. Yeah, like this. Haven't found like a completely off position though. So this is the airfield right there. We're gonna go in a distance in front and we're gonna turn around to come in to land. Since I'm single player, I can go fast through the boring ports. There we go. And now we're at 300 knots. We're going to want to slow this down. So, as I had said in my last video, I find the L-39 seems to be quite underpowered. You'll see when we try the F-86 afterwards. The F-86 is a much older plane, but it's got some pep to it compared to this. But it does what it has to do. This was the sort of jet trainer for people who wanted to become MiG-21 pilots back in the day, I guess, or other Russian fighters. So you don't need something super powerful, but I find that it's very low on its power band. So we're gonna go with flaps for the middle position if it will allow it to go there. We do have a speed brake, so we'll slow down a bit faster with that. Let's get the gear down if it will go down. That might help us slow down a bit. Now the flaps have gone to the middle position. And what's our speed now? About 150. Let's get the full flaps going. There we go. Gonna retrim. Okay, so we're coming in on the airfield. I'll put my feet on the rudders so that can use the rudders. We have a little bit of a crosswind. It's not a very huge crosswind. It's almost like having the wind in our face, but you know, it pushes us to the right a little bit, so having rudders can be useful. I guess that's a little bit rougher than it should be. But we're down safely. Gonna see if I can turn around to go to my rearming station. Once you get the hang of it, it does want to turn, but needs quite a bit of power. So we'll get the flaps back up. There we go. So we're gonna go park next to these tents and trucks there. There is an option to have an English cockpit, which is what I have right now. It's quite useful because otherwise everything you see in here would be written in Cyrillic. If you want to go for full Russian realism, it's kind of nice to be able to have that, but sometimes it's good to learn a new plane in a language that you like and know. And so we're gonna brake right here. What does that look like? Looks alright. We'll get the air brake in. As you can see, that little thing on the belly, those two little doors, that's the air brake. I don't know if we can put wheel chocks with this plane. Yes, we can.
Chief, place the wheel chocks. Copy. Wheel chocks are now in place.
Okay, so we've got wheel chocks in place, and then we can do the lazy shutdown. I don't know if the window's gonna open. I think it will, yeah. There you go. And the little ladders pop out. So there, that's the L-39. So I'm gonna go here and say quit. And then we can see if we check events with kills that got a lot of the insurgents. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vehicles, including the one that had a Dishka gun shooting at us. So now I'm going to do the fly again thing, and then we'll try it with the F-86, which is a whole other ball game, quite different. There we go. So same mission, different plane. So I chose this green livery because, well, it sort of fits with the environment. And I've got 8 rockets per wing, plus those big guns on each side of the nose there. I say big, but they're like 50 cal guns. They're not super powerful, but they do what they need to do, especially since we're going to go hit some trucks. Works alright. But again, it's a plane from another era. It was built as a fighter, not as a ground attack plane, but today we're using it for that purpose. So here we're on guns. In order to shoot rockets, I have to enable that. I'm gonna choose all guns here on the selector, and for the rest, well, we'll just hope for the best. I think there's a brightness thing there. It looks like it's at the brightest setting. And again, this works with differential braking, but since I have rudders that have brakes on them, this one I can activate the brake on the right side, activate the brake on the left side in order to turn. So it's a bit different from the L-39 that we had before. And yeah, it takes forever to get to start moving, but you have to be careful when it does because it can surprise you. So if I apply more brake here, I turn more. If I brake left side, you can see it's going to turn left. Now it's turning right. It's really just with the brakes that I'm setting up the plane. So again, let's just give it power and see where we can take it. Gonna go just in the outside view. I wanted to check how low the flaps were. Now we're fast enough that we can just use the rudder to keep it straight. And now it seems to want to go up. Gotta be quick to get the gear up in this, because if it goes too fast, they might break off. And then we're gonna get the flaps up and confirm that visually from the outside that everything's in. There we go. Gonna set the sights to a smaller setting there. Whoops. Gonna have to trim down a little bit because it wants to go up. It accelerates pretty quickly. We're at 250 knots already. I think I saw something for the lights here. Yeah, if I put it in the middle position, should turn them off, but you see they're still on, so maybe it's another light switch. Trying to figure this out as we go. Again, it's probably just a question of cool hand, read the manual. The feeling of flight is pretty good. When you turn with this, it's pretty smooth, but if you pull very hard, you'll hear the pilot breathe heavily and you can feel the plane, how it behaves. I'm just gonna test my guns. There we go. And so yeah, we're gonna go try our attack. The rockets are notoriously imprecise with this, so I'm gonna try to go with guns for our first target. Ah, barely missed, like just to the right side of it. They know we're here now. I was watching a bombing video for the F-86, and those lines that you have there in the cockpit, they'll show you the angle of your dive. If you can't read, let's say, your angle on the artificial horizon. Let's say I dive like this and I go to 30 degrees. Yeah, I'm at 30 degrees. So you have the lines in the cockpit to help you. I find them more useful to know like how far behind you're looking, but it's interesting. I'll try some rockets on that pass, but I'm not super confident with my use of rockets. Here goes nothing. I got a few things. I don't know if I got them with guns or rockets, but also we got our vehicle that we wanted. The Dishka is no more. Still have quite a few rockets. I only fired 4. Let's have fun with this 1950s technology. That was not very precise for the rockets. I'd probably have to study like what angle, what speed, all those things that I should come in at. As you may have guessed, I'm just doing some tests here. I've gotten the plane like 2 days ago. That might have been a bit more precise. Did I manage to hit some of those trucks? I think so. Some stuff is blowing up. I'll try my first column that I had hit, because there are some vehicles on the back of it. Yeah, I think I'm going to do like a diagonal thing with those 2 little trucks in the field and the 2 behind on the side road. Let's try to line them up properly. Like that. And then bring the plane in like this. Okay, we're out of rockets. As you can see, it's clean under the wings. Let's try having a bit of fun with our guns. I think I set a few things on fire there. Oh yeah, fuel truck just exploded. I like how predictable the flying characteristics of the jet are. One more pass and then we'll head home. Trying to see where I'm gonna find the most vehicles. I think we set another one on fire. It'd be hard to see from that side. Let's turn to the other one. Yeah, I got him. That little loner there, he's on fire. So again, we're gonna head back home. It does surprisingly well for a 50s vintage plane, I have to say. Of course, back then it was state of the art. Bomber interceptor. Let's see my control things. Yeah, my rudder pedals, if I just touch them barely, things look like they're gonna away from me. Now, the tricky part with the landing for this is that at my current speed, at 400 knots, I'm not going to be able to get my flaps to go fully down. But also, I have to be very slow when I deploy the gear, otherwise the front gear has a tendency to break. Just from the aerodynamic push on it. It's pretty fragile. So I am going to have to go gentle on it. Now, let's see. Do we have any air brakes on this? Yes, we do. Get the air brakes back in. Now for the flaps, you have like a down and up, but for my switch, if I leave it in the middle, it stops it. So if I go like that, I can have a little bit of flap. If I were to pull it all the way down, it would go all the way down. But for now, I just want to have a little bit of flap, help myself slow down. And then once I'm on final, hopefully I've slowed down enough to get the gear down. But that's like at 120. Maybe a little bit more than that, but still. can't be going very fast. So let's get some flaps going on. Maybe air brakes first. Air brakes. Flaps. Okay. A little bit of gas. I think on the speedometer when we're below that yellow line, that's a cue that we can possibly get the gear down, so let's try it. Yay, it didn't break off. Gonna give it a bit of trim. At about 130 seems to be a good speed to come in. Gonna deal with that crosswind a little bit. Touchdown. And now we can apply brakes. Pump them a little bit. I think there's a slight malfunction on my rudder. Sometimes the thing disconnects there. But okay, so we made it. We didn't break the landing gear, so that's always a good thing. So let's try to turn here. See if we can go park it. If I'm cheating a little bit with the outside view, it's because my left rudder pedal, which I need to use here for the to brake and turn, it's having a bit of an issue right now, so okay, now it's working. I'll park it and then I'll have to go play under my desk with my pedals. There we go. We made it. So, does this one have wheel chucks? Nope. So we'll just do the lazy shutdown, and I always find it funny to watch at the end when the canopy opens, the pilot has to duck his head down as the cockpit slides backwards. So a tall guy like me would have had a hard time in that plane because I would barely fit in it. And this short guy, well, look at what's going to happen when the canopy opens. He has to get the head down a little bit so that he doesn't get hit by the... Alright, so there. So, fun plane testing again. Hope you enjoyed watching it. Let's go here and here